Well, hello, class of 3 2020. Today is our last day of school officially. I know many of us finished up already on Wednesday or yesterday, but today is the last day. And in keeping with the ethical principle of fidelity, thank you. Yep, it's in there. I am following through my promise to give you a quick speech, one that I would give at pinning if we were getting together. But since we aren't doing that, I thought I'd do it virtually. This is pretty cash, guys. So I thought, I thought we would just do like a talk, kind of like we're having coffee. And so picture yourselves with go grab a cup of coffee. And yes, for those of you wondering, it is coffee. It is coffee. And let's just have a chat. I thought it'd be fun to look back on kind of where we started and kind of where we're headed. Where we are and how far we've come, and then where we're headed. I know. I was thinking about this, preparing and thinking, what do I want to say? What message do I want to give? And I started thinking, okay, we all know the ABCs. We all know, fluid balance and, how to keep homeostasis. We know nursing diagnosis. We know treatments. We know pharmacology. Some of you know pharmacology. Most of you, I personally do not. I can't claim that one. However, those are all things that our curriculum taught us, right? So yeah, we know all that. Or we have, better yet, a familiarity with it. Because as we've been told many times, we're going to learn it on the job. So I'm hoping that when the preceptor says, Mary, have you ever heard of metabolic acidosis, that my brain somehow connects and says, yes, I have heard of that before. Please don't leave me alone with this patient. But point being is that that's our curriculum. We learned that. That's one thing we've learned in nursing school. Okay? Great, put that in our tool bag or in our toolbox. But there's a whole nother level, guys. Whole nother level that is kind of the unspoken about knowledge that you learn in nursing school. I'd like to talk about that. Let's explore. Drink a coffee, please. Okay. So I find that nursing school gave me a whole nother way to communicate. We have our own vocabulary in many, many, many ways. I think back, case in point, I think back to fundamentals, and thinking of this day just makes me laugh. I'm standing in class, I have a hot dog in one hand and a needle in another. Now, snapshot, that doesn't happen every day. But I inject said hot dog with fluid, and the joy that I felt. And I exclaimed to the rest of the room, I have the biggest wheel on my wiener. And it was, you all were happy for me. It wasn't odd. That's not odd. I dare you to go anywhere else in the world and say, you got a big wheel on your wiener? No, it's inappropriate. I think of words, like our vocabulary that we use, and we understand we can talk this way to each other, right? It's a bond that we share. And fast forward to maternal health. The first time I heard the word fundus, I can remember taking notes and thinking, did she just say fundus? Fundus or fungus? It bothered me so much that I actually started to think about the word fundus because, quite frankly, this is only used in the nursing world or in the healthcare world because fundus can't be a real word. It doesn't have a root, it doesn't have a prefix, and it doesn't have a suffix, right? So, I'm pretty sure that fundus came along with a person that had a really bad cold, maybe a loogie, and tried to say fungus, and it came out, look, fundus. Makes sense to me. It's my critical thinking working overtime. Not only, have we kind of had our own language that we use with each other, but I also feel that nursing school gave us some other things, or nursing school gave us some other skills. And those skills, are transferable. They're life transferable skills. When I think about it, I think of like the answer game. I'm going to use that a lot. I used it quite a bit in school. As most of you know, I sat right up in front. And I enjoy participation. Most of you know. And so the teacher would ask a question, and I wanted to have the answer every time. So I'd start out strong. Let's say the answer is like metabolic acidosis, okay? And I'd be like, strong. Go, this is my theory. This is how to do this now. You go in strong with meh, and then you watch their lips, and you're like, point back at them. Like, oh no, I got it. It's in here, but come on. And you put it back on them. What is it? You know it. What is it? Right? And then you say, yeah, as they go metabolic, and then they get to acidosis, you hit osis strong. Osis. Yep. So you start out with metabolic acidosis. Yeah, got it. That way, see, no one will ever be aware that you don't really know what in the mother you're talking about. You just, start out strong, kind of go through the dip, hit it hard at the end, okay? Life skill. I can see me using that at a party. Somebody comes along and they're like, hey, Mary, do you remember that person I was talking to you about, you do this. Yeah, her name is, and they start to form, and you watch the lips. Meh. Yep. Meh. Yep. Madeline. Lynn. Yep. Yeah. See, it's good. Practice that. That's a good skill. Another life skill that we learned that I think I'm going to put this on my evaluation sheet is nonverbal skills, right? We learned all about our nonverbals, but there's one that really wasn't written down, kind of that, that secret society thing that you learn in nursing school that's different. It's not on paper, but it's another skill that you learn, and I call it the stank face. Okay, we all know it. It's the one where you're in clinical, light goes on, you walk down to the room, you walk in, and you are immediately hit with an odor of, let's say, warm compost, sour milk, and maybe throw in a skunk, right? But your mind's firing so fast, and you know that person put on their light because they need help, and they're watching that doorway to make sure you get there in time, so you have no time to react. You walk in, and you are like, stink face, and you regroup. Because of the smell, you're kind of sure you know why they put their light on, and you gracefully say, hi, you know what? I see that you got your light on. I'm just going to step out real quick, get a few supplies, and I'll be right back. Yeah, lovely. You step out, take a deep breath, and then you kind of, come back at it and do your job. I see that as a huge life skill, and maybe we should have the instructors grade us on that. I think it'd be kind of an interesting exercise. Let's just put a bowl of poop in front of us and just see, can you hold it together or not? It's a thought. Always try and improve, I see it useful at a party. Again, Chatty Cathy comes in, she's talking. You don't want to have anything to do with it. So you do the whole stank face. I'm just going to step out for a minute. Don't say you're coming back. And then, that's it. Oh, gotta go. Beautiful. Excuse me. Coffee. So, there's another skill that we learned about that isn't in the books, right? Another one that's not in the books and nobody really talks about, but it's one that's very, very relative to today, and that's the skill of resiliency. I was watching a TED Talk. A Dr. Lucy Hone, Hone, if you want to look her up, and what she does is she teaches resilience training for the Army to drill sergeants, which I thought was funny, and I immediately thought she's credible because this isn't going to be a bunch of fluff. I doubt drill sergeants deal with fluff. So I took a little look-see and listened in on her, and she has like 3 tips, or characteristics, I should say, not tips, but characteristics or traits of a person who's resilient. And I was just kind of putting it all together and thinking, that's what we need today. We need resiliency in today's world, right? It's crazy right now. And then I thought, hold the phone. we already are resilient. Because check it out. First trait for people who are resilient. Tell me if this isn't nurses. You already know that shit is going to happen. You're not Pollyanna. You don't think that, oh yeah, life is just going to play along like this and then, right? No, you realize shit's going to happen. And here's how we know it. Because we know that when we walk into that room, when the light's on, that person is not well. Shit has already happened in that person's life, right? We're there to help them. And we also are taught throughout school that be ready for shit that's going to happen. We're always at the ready. We're always thinking, do I need to have, intubation equipment ready? And do I call rapid response? Or, do I turn them on their side? What, do I lift the head of the bed? I mean, what? Don't ask me about drugs. I won't ever, I'll never give anyone a drug. But we're taught that thinking already. So we have that trait of resiliency, that first one. Second trait of resiliency. You decide where you give your attention. People who are resilient don't necessarily just let the whole, the big old picture and the mass hysteria get to them. People who are resilient, they choose where they put their attention. This is huge. What do we do those of you that are working, what do you do every day when you're working with a client? You choose where to give your attention, right? You're saying you have a neuro issue, I'm going to do a neuro assessment, and that's what I'm going to work on. I'm not worried about what everything else is going on, right? I'm going to do that neuro assessment. I'm going to help you for what you need. I don't know what's going on in the next room right now. I'm focused on you. Okay? That's huge. I think that's just absolutely huge. Things can always change, and we know that. So that, again, kind of goes back to nursing, that we are always and forever reassessing. We're reassessing and then refocusing. We meet that second trait. The third trait is what I'm doing right now helping or harming me? I love this one. Because helping or harming me, if I'm not healthy and my mental health isn't strong, I'm not the best I can be for my patients, right? Now this kind of goes someplace. The world today feels heavy, and we know that. We work with people that are in a bad way. Heavy load, right? And so negativity sticks to you like Velcro, and positivity seems to just slip off. Negative can kind of always build up in us. It just sort of sticks, and it sticks, and it sticks, and it sticks, and pretty soon you're heavy and you're kind of feeling it, right? And that's when it takes us to a place that we don't need to go. That isn't healthy for us. It's not helping us. It can take us to a place that Cy Wakeman calls BMW driving. It's one of my favorite talks. She calls BMW driving bitching, moaning, and whining. So some of us, when all the Velcro, that negativity is starting to stick to us, what do? We decide to take our BMWs for a little spinner. We're going to take her out for a drive. We're going to allow ourselves to bitch, and we're going to allow ourselves to moan, and we're going to whine, and we're going to say, this isn't fair, and this makes me mad, and this isn't, I don't deserve this. Well, think back to trait number 1. We're resilient because we know that shit happens. Think of trait number 2. Choose to where you're putting your attention. If you're putting it into that BMW, you're not adhering to rule number 3, right? Which is this good for me or is this bad for me? Now, I'm not saying, gosh, don't get mad. I think all of you know that, I've got a bit of a temper, so I know I'd be the last person to say that. But I'm not saying don't get mad, don't get upset, don't get furious, don't do it. Then get out, park your BMW, and do what's right for you, and come on back, right? To say, okay, what I'm going to do now is I am going to be the best I can be, because that's what's best for me. And if it's best for me, it's best for the world. So, a little thought there, just a little thought. Who better to be resilient than nurses? We go into This profession, we're natural people with, or our natural traits are compassion and empathy, right? So we probably feel some of this heaviness in the world right now a little more than others. But we also have those beautiful traits. We know that shit happens. So we're always prepared, or thinking in that line. We choose where our attention goes, and then we determine, is that the best thing for us? So in closing, I hope this video gives you a little bit of closure, and I hope that all of you, absolutely, I wish you the most success. I want to thank you all for opening my world to the most beautiful people from all walks of life and all opinions, and just the future is bright with you nursing. It really is. I genuinely mean that. If the world starts getting heavy and you want to drive your BMW, know that you can drive it into my driveway. Come on in, sit down at the table, and let's have a cup of coffee. I will say, wear your shoes when you come in, because God only knows what you're going to find in my house. But, you know, the offer stands. So I wish all of you the best of luck, and congratulations to the class of 3-2020. It was a big finish. Now it's going to get awkward because I have to stop the video. So I'm going to fade. I'm going to fade out.